been there, haven't we? That agonizing stretch of waiting for something really important. Maybe it's a job offer you're desperate to hear about, or, a personal breakthrough you've been working towards.
Or even just that package delivery you keep tracking.
Exactly. Refreshing the page every 5 minutes. In our fast-paced world, we're practically conditioned to crave instant gratification.
Yeah.
Quick fixes, immediate results.
Yeah, the very idea of truly waiting patiently, it feels almost countercultural now.
It really does. So today we're doing a deep dive into this profound concept of patience in the process.
And how, as these sources put it so well, slow faith grows deep roots.
Right. And while we're pulling insights from a really compelling sermon and related reflection materials from the First Church of the Nazarene.
Specifically looking at the book of Hosea, chapter 11, and some other scriptures too.
Yeah, the principles we're going to unpack feel, remarkably universal. They hit home whether you're navigating something huge or just, stuck in traffic.
It's true.
Our mission today is really to explore what these materials reveal about cultivating a deeper patience. How do we learn to trust timelines that feel incredibly long?
And how perseverance can lead to really profound personal growth, even when the path forward isn't clear at all.
So get ready for some maybe fresh perspectives and hopefully some aha moments that might just redefine how you approach your own seasons of waiting.
It's fascinating how universal that struggle really is. I mean, the materials highlight that this isn't a new thing at all.
Right.
Even back in Hosea's day, people were desperate for fast answers, instant solutions.
Like Israel, you mentioned.
Exactly. Israel sought these quick fixes for security. And what happened? They ended up wandering in circles, just constantly moving, but not really getting anywhere.
Wandering in circles. So it wasn't just a bad choice, but like a fundamental misdirection, a misunderstanding of what real security even is.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. It's a deeply ingrained human tendency, that chase for the visible, the immediate solution.
And it's not just ancient history, is it? You mentioned a church survey.
Yeah, there was this recent survey, actually sent out by text, kind of informal, but it posed a really telling question.
Oh.
It asked the congregation, are you struggling more with chasing security and rushing for results, or with the ache of waiting on God when the season feels long?
Wow. And the results?
The response was pretty revealing. The overwhelming majority, they felt that struggle of waiting, finding it incredibly difficult to trust deeply while they waited.
That just perfectly illustrates it, doesn't it? Our collective craving for those fast answers, those instant results. And it leads to that distinct ache of waiting.
Yeah, it highlights a deep human discomfort with the unknown, with things not being resolved now.
It makes you wonder then, how does a divine infinite being approach this whole idea of waiting?
Well, the materials give us such a powerful image of God's heart, his enduring patience, particularly in Hosea chapter 11.
Right, the parent analogy.
Exactly. It paints God's relationship with Israel as that of a loving, deeply invested parent. God says, when Israel was a child, I loved him, and I called my son out of Egypt.
That's beautiful, but what really struck me was the depth of the emotion described.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just compassion, it's the agony described, a divine heartbreak that sort of challenges our typical picture of a stoic deity. He describes teaching Israel how to walk, leading them by the hand, even saying, I led Israel along with my ropes of kindness and love.
Ropes of kindness.
Yeah. I lifted the yoke from his neck, and I myself stooped to feed him. I mean, this isn't some distant authority figure.
No.
It's a parent, deeply invested, nurturing every step, showing this profound, almost agonizing unwillingness to let go.
That's incredibly powerful. But, despite all that love and care, Israel kept moving away, sacrifices to idols, refusing to return. How did these sources kind of reconcile that overflowing compassion with other parts of Hosea or other scriptures where, consequences or divine judgment are clearly mentioned? Is there a tension there?
That's a really insightful question. And the core message here, especially in Hosea 11, seems to be that despite Israel repeatedly turning away, God's immediate overriding response is this profound compassion.
Okay.
He cries out, oh, how can I give you up, Israel? How can I let you go? How can I destroy you? And then this line, my heart is torn within me and my compassion overflows.
Wow.
It demonstrates God isn't a cold, distant king. It's a father whose heart aches, yet whose promises still remain unbroken. The materials really emphasize God is not a mere mortal.
Right, not like us.
And so he will not completely destroy Israel, choosing instead to be the Holy One living among you. It showcases this enduring patience that just keeps going, even when people are far from patient themselves.
The love that endures even our resistance. That's something else.
Yeah. It suggests a love so deep, it holds out hope even when facing profound ingratitude.
And speaking of shaping us, the materials bring in another incredible analogy for how God works in our lives. The potter and the clay.
Ah, yes, the potter. Such a classic image.
An ancient image, right? Found in Scripture, in craft. This picture of a potter carefully shaping clay on a wheel.
Exactly. And the analogy of God as a potter shaping clay is very insightful here. A potter doesn't rush it.
No.
He leans over it, carefully molds it, steadies it with his hand.
Yeah.
But, once the basic shape is there, the clay isn't actually ready. It still has to go into the kiln.
Ah, the kiln's heat. Okay, that often sounds like a trial, maybe even punishment. I know my first thought when things get tough is usually, okay, what did I do wrong?
And that's such a common reaction. But the unexpected truth, really, from these sources is that the very intensity of whatever heat you're feeling right now, it isn't a sign of punishment.
It's not.
No, it's actually presented as a precise, deliberate process, like a potter carefully calibrating the kiln's temperature, not to burn the clay, but to forge unparalleled strength. The potter makes sure the clay doesn't get burnt or crack under the pressure.
Yeah.
And, importantly, won't pull it out too soon.
Pull it out too soon.
All right, so any heat you might be feeling right now isn't a sign that God has forgotten you. It's actually proof that he's making you strong.
Wow.
Proof. It's about purifying hearts, shaping character, helping us become, as they put it, more like his son Jesus.
So if I'm getting this right, when I'm feeling that heat, it's not God being absent, but actually proof he's actively involved in, forming me.
That's the idea. Yeah.
That totally flips how I usually think about hard times. And this idea, it really comes into focus when the sources talk about two very different ways of approaching faith. Quick faith versus slow faith.
Right. This contrast is key.
Yeah.
Quick faith. Well, it's characterized by its desire for instant answers.
Yeah.
Immediate change.
Get it done now.
Exactly. It wants results now and gets really disappointed if growth takes time. It often jumps from one fix to the next if something feels too hard or takes too long.
Okay.
And this kind of faith, it can wither when trials or delays come because it produces only shallow roots. It's more of a surface level thing.
So it might look good on the surface, maybe even really enthusiastic at first, but it just can't sustain itself when the real work begins.
Pretty much.
When you talk about quick faith, it sounds almost like what we see in today's self-help culture sometimes, that instant gratification buzz. Do the sources suggest there's any value in that initial burst, or is it always kind of destined to wither?
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
And the parable of the sower actually touches on this. Remember the seed on rocky soil?
Yeah.
Sprouts fast, full of joy, yes. But because it has no root, it withered faster when testing came.
Right.
It led to falling away.
So the enthusiasm itself isn't bad.
No, not inherently bad, but if it's not grounded in a deeper trust that can actually weather difficulty, it just won't last.
Okay.
And the sources warn that when Israel, for example, broke God's gentle cords of love, they didn't find freedom. They actually found themselves yoked to fear, to hurry, and to self-destruction.
Yoked, like burdened, constrained.
Yeah, exactly, like an animal pulling a heavy, ill-fitting burden. Not freedom at all.
That makes total sense. So it's not just about what sprouts quickly, but what actually takes root. That initial energy can be deceptive if it's not grounded. What then is this slow faith they talk about?
Slow faith. Well, it understands that deep roots take time. Simple as that, but hard to live. It accepts God's timeline, even when it feels hidden or makes no sense. It trusts God's character, even when there's no visible progress.
How does it grow?
It grows through small, daily, hidden obedience, like a consistent, quiet walk through life, not necessarily flashy.
Okay.
And this kind of faith produces lasting fruit because its roots can draw water even in the drought. It's about, as the materials put it, staying yoked to Jesus, or more broadly, staying aligned with that path of gentle guidance and trust. A path described as easy and light, unlike the heavy burdens we often put on ourselves.
Easy and light. That sounds good. So it's consistency, quiet growth, not some flashy overnight success story.
Exactly.
And this idea isn't just theoretical, right? The materials give some incredible examples, historical, biblical.
Absolutely. I mean, consider Abraham. Okay. He waited 25 years for Isaac. 25 years believing God's promise, even when he was, 100 years old.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is. And he made mistakes, of course. He wasn't perfect. But the unwavering thread was his slow faith that kept trusting through those years of silence. His story shows that persistence, even with detours, can lead to incredible fulfillment.
And then there's Jesus himself. We often focus on his public ministry, right? The miracles, the teaching.
Right, the 3 years. But the reflection materials highlight what they call the silent years.
His silent years.
Yes, 30 years of obscurity before those 3 years of visible ministry. The world saw the fruit later, sure, but the roots were growing deep for decades.
Decades.
Through faithfulness in the small things with no spotlight. It's like the Father wasn't in a hurry with Jesus, so why would he rush us?
That really puts our own impatience into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. It shows this divine pattern of preparation that far outweighs public performance.
Knowing that even these foundational figures had those long periods of quiet growth. And it wasn't just biblical figures either, right? You mentioned Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincoln. He was, far from an overnight success. That's putting it mildly.
Right. Failed businesses, lost elections.
Failed in business, lost elections, dealt with deep depression. Many people told him to just give up.
But he didn't?
No. He famously said, "I am a slow walker, but I never walk back." His slow steps led to those deep roots that could eventually carry the immense weight of history during one of the country's absolute hardest times.
I never walk back. That's powerful.
It's a testament to the power of unglamorous, consistent perseverance.
It's kind of like the farmer, isn't it? The writings remind us of James chapter 5.
Yes. Be patient like farmers who patiently wait for the rains in the fall and in the spring, eagerly looking for that valuable harvest.
Yeah.
Patience is farming for deep roots. You don't rush a harvest. You plant, you cultivate, you weed, you wait. The soil and the seed are doing work you can't see, just like maybe your roots are growing deeper than you can perceive during these times of waiting.
It's about understanding that meaningful growth is inherently a process, not just an event.
Precisely.
So, okay, this all sounds good, but how do we actually cultivate these deeper roots in our own lives? When we're in the middle of that waiting, the materials offer some really practical application.
They do. First, they suggest a crucial mindset shift.
Okay, what's that?
It starts with setting your sights on the realities of heaven, as Colossians 3 puts it. It's about consciously putting off the old self, those immediate impulses for quick fixes, the impatience,
Right.
and intentionally putting on the new. This shift helps us wait well, instead of just drifting aimlessly or rushing ahead frantically. It's about trusting God's timing in his spirit to change us from the inside out.
Aligning your internal compass, maybe?
Yeah, aligning your internal compass with something bigger, something beyond your immediate circumstances is a good way to put it.
Okay, and what about those times when we feel completely stuck or lost? When waiting just feels like despair?
Yeah, that's real. And that's when the encouragement is to cry out to God.
Oh, yeah.
Psalm 107 shows this pattern. People are wandering, lost, and they cry out to the Lord, and God delivers them. So even when you feel stuck, the advice is to actively ponder God's loving deeds, his faithfulness in the past, rather than just wandering in silence or getting better.
Don't be afraid to voice the struggle.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to voice that struggle, that uncertainty. It's often the first step towards some kind of breakthrough.
But enduring through those really tough times, that's often the hardest part. And that's where perseverance and hope come in.
Absolutely. Romans 5 gives us that powerful chain reaction. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope.
And hope, guess what? It does not disappoint. I remember that.
Yes. It's this beautiful cycle where you actually become stronger and more resilient through the waiting itself. Your capacity for hope actually expands through the act of enduring.
Just last week, totally trivial example, but I was tracking a package, couldn't wait for it. And when it got delayed, I felt that familiar frustration, almost an ache. It really made me think about this ache of waiting the materials talk about, even on a small scale.
It applies everywhere, doesn't it?
It really does. So for you listening right now, what's maybe one practical step you can take this week to cultivate this slow faith? The materials offer a pretty clear challenge.
Yeah, they do. They suggest name one thing you're kind of tugging at, wrestling with, instead of truly trusting God with it.
What you're trying to force.
Exactly. What are you trying to force results on? Maybe rushing a process that actually needs time. The challenge is to name it. Maybe write it down, journal, note card, somewhere visible.
Okay.
And then pray over it daily this week. Maybe talk about it with someone you trust, Or use the daily guides and reflection questions that came with the original materials if you have access.
Make it concrete.
Right. The idea is that if a few will get together, slow faith grows deep roots, and deep roots hold strong no matter what comes. It's about intentional, consistent practice.
And maybe the ultimate example of God's perfect timing, that final rescue, is the cross itself.
Indeed. Jesus came not rushed, but exactly when the Father appointed him. His arrival wasn't hurried, it was perfectly timed according to God's plan.
The greatest exodus.
Representing the greatest exodus and the final rescue for all of humanity. It's the ultimate proof that God's timing, no matter how long it feels to us, is always right, always purposeful.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for us here and now? The central truth we've really dug into today is this: slow faith grows deep roots. The materials consistently emphasize that God truly does some of his best work in us while we wait, even when you can't see it or feel it.
Your roots are growing deeper than you can even perceive as you invest in those moments of patience, of trust.
Yeah. And the final really powerful insight from these sources that we want to leave you with is this: real peace doesn't come from you just trying harder on your own or gritting your teeth and waiting longer by yourself.
It comes when you know the Prince of Peace.
So as you reflect on this deep dive, maybe consider this. Where in your own life are you being invited to trust God's timing more deeply right now?
What might you need to lay down? Maybe an agenda, a need for control, that insistence on immediate answers.
So your roots can truly grow even deeper. By embracing patience in the process, you're not just enduring. You are allowing yourself to be formed, to be strengthened for whatever challenges or blessings are ahead.